Hey there, Phil. Checking in. Oh, we've been talking about it. It happened. What happened, boys? We get some tonight or what? Yeah! Woo! It happened, Phil. They dropped their guard. We got a couple on deck tonight.
Hey.
Look at that. We get them tonight, boys. What happened? Come on now.
Woo-hoo! You already know.
We got
Time Whammo zone, baby.
We got some work ahead of us here. We'll check in with you later.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and what a way to start out the morning briefing. That was the Pegasus last night as they had a ripper bite on the Bluefin tuna. Our thanks to Jacob Barclay for sharing that with us and getting us pumped up for a really big weekend. Awesome stuff. We're going to cover that bite, the Bluefin bite down in San Diego in the daytime. Also, we'll be talking Channel Islands, halibut and white sea bass, Catalina Island yellowtail. San Clemente's got yellows, but the Bluefin are nearby also. So if you're on a day-and-a-half trip and you're headed out that way, you're going to want to bring your tuna tackle. We have got that and so much more for you. Good morning, my friends. You know what time it is. It's time for the morning briefing. Good morning. Oh, I need that with my voice. I've been sick for about 4 days now, but grinding through it for all of you. And man, I'll tell you that from the Pegasus, when I got that late last night, it was remarkable. I couldn't go back to sleep. It looked like so much fun seeing all the guys on the Pegasus. I'm so happy you connected. So happy for the Pegasus out of Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. They always do a great job. And things are looking up as we saw several boats have some really great fishing. Other guys, didn't connect. So I don't want to suggest to you that it's a slam dunk. You're going to get them. But man, things are really looking good right now. And we get a first report from the XL, who's headed down south on a long-range trip, but he stopped on a few jags of bluefin tuna, ended up with 17 fish, and said that he saw a remarkable amount of bluefin tuna. Just so much fish, and that is the theme that we have been bringing to you almost on a regular basis, that there's a lot of fish. It's only a matter of time until this thing really gets crazy and everybody is catching. And I think it's water temp. I think we're a month behind in terms of our water temperatures. And once it warms up, it is going to get insane. No question about it. It's already getting insane for some of the guys, as you could see on that trip last night. So let's get into it. The Constitution with our dear friend Robin Yoshihiro. She was on a podcast here recently with us. She is a captain on board the Poseidon, but she was on board the Constitution, 2.5-day trip, limits of bluefin tuna, including some really nice ones for Robin, as you can see there. Nice hit for them indeed. Also out the Pacific Queen, 33 guys, a day-and-a-half trip, 61 bluefin tuna, most of that fish in the 25 to 30-pound class. Great fishing for them, lots of action and lots of fun. I'll get into the daytime bite and a little bit of tackle with you here in 1 second. The Liberty was on a full-day trip yesterday. They had 3 bluefin, but 102 on the kelp patty forky, so the yellows are also in there, and they are biting mostly 5 to 10-pound fish, a few bigger than that. And then we had some slower trips also, no question about that. But hopefully this thing is starting to head in the right direction. That bite on the Pegasus, there was other guys that had great fishing last night, also some guys that missed, but there is really some excellent prospects in our future. You have that fish down in Mexican waters south of the Coronado Islands, mostly that smaller grade fish. You have that fish out near San Clemente Island, and that is that bigger grade fish that likes to bite at night sometimes. And man, it's available to not only the San Diego boats, but also the LA Orange County fleet, who's on a day-and-a-half type trip. So that is great news indeed. So in the daytime, when you're fishing that smaller grade fish, you're going to want a number 1 or number 2 circle hook. I like 25-pound fluorocarbon. For some of you, that might be a little light, but on that grade of fish, gives you plenty of pulling power, and I believe you get bit way better on that. So keep that in mind, my friends. It really makes a huge difference. A lot of guys are suggesting 30 to 40-pound. If you can choose a really good hot bait and get a bite, you're in better shape with that heavier line. I agree. And if you happen to hook a bigger fish, then you are even more blessed at that point in time. So 25 to 40-pound fluoro, I would recommend that. And then you need something with 60 to 80. You're going to sinker fish with that, or you can throw the small shiny jigs like a Daiwa Sakana on those schools. There's all kinds of fish. I mean, they're on the surface. You'll see bird schools, you'll see sonar marks, you'll see breezers. I mean, it's really remarkable, the amount of fish. And it could be that that light switch has gone on here today. We'll know more as the day plays out and be updating you with our shorts, 30-second little snippets that get you caught up on everything fast, quick, gives you the tackle you need, everything. So make sure you're checking back for those all day long. Once again, there were guys that missed. There were guys that had great fishing. It seems like we are headed in the right direction. That is great news out of San Diego. Hey, south of the border, the Pongueros down there, they are catching good amounts of bluefin tuna. And also down there at Victor's Blackfin Sport Fishing, they had some good barracuda fishing. And many times we see that gar show up down in that neck of the woods first, and then it filters into the local areas here. I'm thinking that barracuda is imminent here in SoCal. Maybe this weekend we're going to see a local barracuda bite. It is primed for it. There's anchovy. The water temperature is perfect. We see fish now in Ensenada. We mentioned to you yesterday there was some more barracuda, so that is a very good sign. Back to the tuna, though. They are getting that big grade of tuna and that smaller grade of tuna down there for the Ponguero fleet. Up here, as we look at the islands, and we're talking about San Clemente and Catalina specifically right now, Clemente, it's foot on the gas and then foot off. I mean, one day you get them, and one day it's a little bit slower. But there has been some excellent scores out there, no question about it. Fury on a 2-day trip had 17 yellowtail. They had a night bite on the Bluefin just the other night, so you're going to want to bring your heavy gear on board the Thunderbird. 29 yellowtail, nice hit for them. The Amigo got in last night with 9 yellowtail, and they've had some fun action on board the Amigo. There's Nick gaffing a fish, good stuff there. I mean, really fun stuff. Surface iron and a fly line sardine have both been super effective, so make sure you've got tackle for both those. Tatty 45 blue and white has been super effective on those yellows, and there's nothing like hanging a nice forky on the iron while you're fishing a 10-foot rod. Well, you don't have to do that, but as Jeff Yeomans and the 540 Slingers guys will tell you, nothing beats it, man. It is really, really great stuff. There's also a mix of sheep's head and whitefish, all that kind of stuff going on out there, mixed up with that kind of a bite. The Apollo will be back in tonight from a 3-day. They had a go around on that big bluefin tuna. I spent some time with that group that's on the Apollo. They were hanging out in our green room at the 22nd Street Landing studio, and they were really a super nice group of guys. Tony, the charter master, my best youth. So they had great bottom fishing combined with some big bluefin tuna. And I will tell you all, this is a novice group, all rental rods. So that says a lot about the crew on the Apollo, no question about that. At Catalina Island, we continue to pick away at the yellows over there. Every once in a while, we'll get a big flurry on it, and sometimes we'll start to catch some sea bass and halibut. We've seen that kind of a thing developing over there. Also, we had the Victory with a yellowtail, the Enterprise with a couple of yellowtail, Native Son with 1 yellowtail. Other guys are getting a little bit more, other guys a little bit less. Hard to get less than that, but as I say, it's been inconsistent, so every other day is different over there. One thing that remains consistent about those yellows at Cat has been lighter line, like 15-pound. Tess has been working best of all. Opsin fluorocarbon, www.opsinusa.com. Make sure you put in FA at checkout. Craig Brown will give you a big hug and a kiss the next time he sees you. Send you a free gift, so make sure you put in FA and fish that fluoro. It makes all the difference in the world, because not only do I believe it gets bit better, but it's resistant to the abrasion. So if you happen to get around any kind of structure or anything else, you have a much better chance fishing the fluorocarbon. As always, choosing a really good hot bait makes all the difference in the world. Up in the Channel Islands, we continue to pick away at some really good halibut fishing with some explosions on sea bass and halibut. But for the most part, you know, it's a few fish here and there. Sea bass get with a couple of halibut, island fox, 2 halibut, gray light with only 5 anglers, so they limit it out. 5 white sea bass and 1 halibut. Aloha Spirit had 2 yellows and 2 halibut. There's an awful lot of big yellowtail up there in that neck of the woods. Also the Endeavor had 4 halibut and 11 white sea bass on a 2-day trip fishing, mostly dropper loop up there in that neck of the woods. We're going to have a little breezy weather here this weekend, but not too bad in most areas. So hopefully that will not push anything down. I think we're going to be fine there. And man, I got to tell you, things are really looking up. I love that Pegasus shot that we got right coming into this. It was awesome. Jacob, thank you so much for that. What a trip on the Pegasus. What a night bite they had last night. And the daytime bite continues on and on and on. The San Diego was out yesterday. Remember, they are a one-day trip, leave in the morning, come back in the evening. 5 bluefin tuna for them. So a little bit hit and miss. Probably means they're going to have limits today. That's the way it's been. All right, my friends, always great to start my morning with you. Thank you so very much for all you do for Friedman Adventures. Our statistics are through the roof. Day and a half trip going tonight on board the Freedom out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro. You might want to jump on that one. 310-832-8304. And don't forget, kids fish free on the Californian up there out of Ventura Sport Fishing on Sunday. That's the old Matt Walsh, by the way. 805-676-3474. You can jump on board the California. I know the Pegasus has some openings next week. If you'd like to jump on board with those guys, Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. All right, my friends, have a wonderful morning. Great spending time with you. Have a great weekend, and I hope to see you really, really soon.